Fashion, fashion, fashion.
It's The Basement Show with your host, Joe Bennett.
Yes, I have been called such things as Joe, Hey You, and Fashionista over the years. And tonight, it's so obvious why. Fashion, fashion. This jacket actually belonged to Marie Stoltzfus. She generously donated it to me. It was one of her favorite jackets from the 80s. And you can see why. And you might be asking yourself, Joe, have you been working out? Or are your shoulders just jacked? Those are shoulder pads. I could basically play football in this jacket. The button is on the wrong side. Well, tonight our show is brought to you by, yes, another sponsor. We'll be right back.
Nope. Man, I wish there was like a podcast that had just dudes talking about random things. Like, that just doesn't exist. Wait, what's this? The Lyrics and Laughs podcast? 4 guys that talk about country music? Yes, please.
This is Lyrics and Laughs, a fun and we think humorous look into the lyrics of country music. Each episode of the podcast, we will discuss some of the greatest songs and lyrics country music has to offer.
Hey, Kenny, as not a fan of country music, do you enjoy being on a country music podcast?
No.
Lyrics and Laughs podcast. I've heard that thing is hilarious. Let's get right into it. We've got another great show for you tonight, and please help me welcome our guest, Greg Milby is here. Greg, it's great to have you.
It is an honor to be on the Basement Show. I mean, this could be the highlight of my career.
You've had a very sad career then. You've been in radio for years. People do radio voices a lot. Give us the just normal, over-the-top radio voice guy.
Okay, now, the next 15 minutes, you stop by and we're going to get you a nice slide of ham.
What about easy listening?
Hello, friends. We're getting ready to play a little Lionel Richie music for you. So if you want to call your loved one in the room and...
What about a country radio station?
Well, it's a little bit after 4 o'clock and we've got the farm market report coming up here in 10 minutes.
That is straight from Greene County right there.
I knew we were going to get a Greene County joke in here. You know, I've got a lot of Milbys in the Greene County phone book that I could call.
I love Greene County for the record. It's one of my top 120 counties in the state. You've interviewed countless people. Can you give me some more tips on how to properly do an interview?
Have somebody else do it.
I am not good at it. That's why we edit. You run Kentucky's Heartland. Tell us about that.
It's just about telling stories of what people are doing in our community, highlighting things that maybe wouldn't get covered in everyday media. Just an outlet of telling stories of what the Heartland's all about.
And Greg does a way better job interviewing people than I do, so you should check it out. Your oldest son is a senior this year. Because of what is happening in the world, they're gonna miss out on some of those important milestones. So as a parent of a senior, what advice would you have for other parents that are going through this?
It's a challenge. We literally got Chick-fil-A for prom. That was pretty much what we did for his prom night. Be forgiving and just know that they're going through a lot and they'll get through it.
I hear you have a podcast that is the most popular podcast featuring 4 guys from Elizabethtown that talk about classic country music.
It's called Lyrics and Laughs. We feature some of the greatest songs country music has to offer.
If you're looking for a place to start, of course you could start at episode 1, but I highly recommend Queen of My Double Wide Trailer.
You can listen to the Reba Fancy episode.
If there's one song that needed to be broken down by 4 middle-aged men, it was Fancy by Reba McEntire. You're on the board of the Hardin County Fair. I love county fairs. So I have some thoughts on how to make the fair better than it even is already. Tell me what you think. Elephant rides, and then you all play Prince Ali from Aladdin while I ride.
One, we don't have any elephants, and I'm not sure I know where we can acquire an elephant. Maybe instead of an elephant, we have you ride Eric's back.
Almost the same thing. What if you started acquiring a bunch of elephants, you become the Elephant King, we make a whole Netflix doc about it?
I don't think your viewers are ready for the Elephant King starring me.
Greg, you are overestimating the intelligence of my audience. Okay, another suggestion. Keep the beauty pageant, but when it gets down to the final 3, it's a funnel cake eating contest.
You know, you actually may be onto something with that.
I would love to draw up a PowerPoint presentation for this. It would be my pleasure. We're going to play a game called Caption This Photo. So I went through some of your old Facebook photos. I'm going to show them to you, and then you have to caption the photo for me.
Wow, I can't believe they let me eat all that food at the buffet. If I close my eyes, do you think she smells it too? The king and his court jester.
If you've watched The Basement Show and you've paid attention very closely, we actually have right here is a signed Jerry the King Lawler autograph.
We have a signed Jerry the King Lawler folding chair.
Greg and I, neither one have musical abilities. So tonight's musical guest is his son, Gavin Milby, a senior this year, playing the marimbas. He's playing an instrument. Thank you to Greg and Gavin Milby for being on the show. You can find Greg at Kentucky's Heartland and on Lyrics and Laughs podcast. Seniors, we know that this looks very different than what you were expecting, but for the rest of your life, anytime anyone ever complains about their prom or graduation, you can look at them right in the eye and say, well, guess what? I didn't even have a prom or graduation. So at least you get to hang that over people's heads. Don't forget to share this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave comments, smash that like button. We'll see you next time on The Basement Show. Good night.
Living his beauty pageant dreams.